We're back for bench racing here. This is volume 3. I'm your host, Spencer Lewis. We're here in the gorgeous Dwayne Baker Estate motorhome here at Sunset Speedway, and I'm here with the two gentlemen that you all, the viewers, said on Facebook that you wanted to see an interview with. We set it up because we listen to you, the fans. To my left, I have the bully Dwayne Baker, 2013 Don Biederman Memorial winner, 2012 Autumn Colors Classic champion, and to my right, a man that needs no introduction among short track circles, the only active late model driver who is a member of the Canadian Motorsports Hall of Fame, multi-time, 30-time champion, multi-time winner of big events across the province, Mr. Stompin, Tom Walters. Gentlemen, first off, I just want to thank you so much for being with us here today. First topic, we sort of spoke off camera about how we wanted to talk about how we can make Sunset Speedway a better place. 'Cause, I mean, the industry in general is in a bit of a slump right now. You know, we need to bring the weekly program back. We need to bring fans back to the stands. And Dwayne, I'm sure you got a lot of ideas. Play the role of Speedway promoter, Speedway manager right now. What can we do to really bring the excitement back to Saturday night tracks?
I think our rules and everything, the car is perfect the way it is. I don't think we need to change anything with the car. It's just maybe a shorter season, 10, 12 nights for all the money. Might bring more guys, want to run less. That's what I like about the OSCAAR. It's like shorter season, you can go tour other places if you want to. I think Sunset's the best track in Ontario right now. We got the best quality cars, drivers, all around every division. Like, it's pretty stout through the whole thing. So I don't think we could probably change a little things here and there, but Mark's pretty good. He'll figure it out.
Tom, is a shorter schedule what's needed? I mean, there are already tracks that are experimenting with that. Flamborough comes to mind immediately. Delaware's another track that have scaled their program back huge. I mean, I think the late models probably run roughly 50% less now than they did 4 seasons ago. Is that the answer?
Well, I think the expense is the biggest thing. A lot of people can't afford to do the 18 nights, and where they could probably affordable more on a 10 night, more laps, more money. Tires are our biggest expense that we have. I mean, it's outrageous, and I know I probably spend $11,000, $12,000 a year just on tires. Well, you don't make near that amount of money. So a shorter season allows people to save some money, come a little bit more prepared, and not be going home and fixing it, you know, every night to get ready for the following Saturday, because our car counts are good at Sunset, but other places are not so good. And I think a lot of it has to do with the cost of repairing these things now.
Now, if we were to scale back a schedule and have just maybe a 10-night show, could you see yourself jumping full-time into the OSCAAR Super Late Model Tour? Would you take your limited late model across the province? What would be ideal for your team?
Well, as of right now, I just sold the white car, so we were planning on going OSCAAR for next year for the full season until Mark kind of spoke up and kind of said something about dropping it back to 10 or 12 nights and for all the money and a little bit longer races, which I like the longer races. So Tom's right, like the cost of 18 nights for 30 laps or whatever, but I think it would bring more drivers, more stronger drivers, and I think it would be a good idea.
I mean, if we were to do, I'm trying to think how I could ask this. You've been hinting for a couple of years that, you know, you're not sure if you've got that many more seasons left in you, and then you'll go on a good run and say, you know what, I feel good, and as long as I can physically do it. As of right now, if we don't scale back our season at Sunset and we run the full 18 nights, do you have another 18-night season left in you?
No, we've already discussed it, and I think I would probably do a partial schedule and just come maybe every second week or something like that to run and support the place. But we're also looking at something else, doing something different too, and it's just been, I'd like to try an open wheel modified, and but I need to know where that's going too. With OSCAAR, if they could get that series off, which is a traveling series too, and they had 5 races here this year. 5 races is adequate for what I'm looking at. So that's just a different, something different I'm looking at too. But It's all about funding. If you can't get the funding, it's hard on us just a paycheck to do this.
Now
we're not getting any younger.
No, we're not getting any younger.
I could race 5 nights a week, but I need 10 guys in the garage. That's the biggest.
Yeah,
the most tiring thing is working in the garage all week.
And that's true. And for me, I have 2 cars that I work on, and I have a full-time afternoon job where it's straight afternoon. So my time is really limited to how much work I can do on the 2 cars. I mean, last week, our car, Sean's car, got done right away. Our car, Jeff showed up Saturday morning, our car was still in the trailer. We had to pull it out because it just run out of time. Like, if one of them has a wreck or something and you got to concentrate on that, and I'm there by myself through the week because these guys work in the day and I work in the afternoon, so we can't get hooked up. It just makes it really tough, and I just sort of decided that, and I talked to Sean about this too, and said to Sean, would you be in for the 10 races at Sunset? And just, he said, yeah, I'd love that. My family would love that. 10 races, I like the longer races. I think that would be a lot more sufficient, because I'm under the impression that if we don't scale back a little bit, we're going to start losing cars.
Now, when we talk longer races, what's the ideal amount? Because when you go to if you go to the South, NASCAR Whelen All-American Series races, Hickory Motor Speedway, South Boston, Motor Mile, Southern National, these are the tracks that come to mind that they don't run every week. They run late model sanctioning, but they run 150 lap races when they do run. Now, is 150 laps too long? Is that too hard on equipment? What's the perfect length of a race for a Saturday night program?
I'd say 50, 75 lappers. I think 75 is probably all around, but for some of the guys, they don't like the longer races, they like the shorter races, so probably a 50 lap would probably be good.
Expense wise, 50 makes sense.
Yeah, okay.
There's people that aren't going to put 4 tires on for every race. If you run 250 lap races, you'll be able to use that particular set of tires. Maybe just have to put 2 on. If you're running 75, you'll probably have to put 4 on each 75 lapper. 50 lapper, you probably only would get away with 2 and run the inside ones for the second 50. So the cost factor wagers into this again. And I think that's what the promoters have to look at. How can we keep the guys coming back for 10 or 12 races and keep it affordable as well? Not have to buy 4 tires for every 12 nights. Maybe just have to buy 2. Then the following week buy 4. Then 2. Which would keep the cost down at 50 laps.
Now, you mentioned how important it is to have guys in the shop, and I know that your shop right now is a pretty busy place. You have the brand new limited late model. You got your OSCAAR Super. How many Super Late models do you have now?
Just the one.
Just the one now.
Sold the one.
And you still have the Pro Late model.
Yeah.
So to have all these cars, how many crew do you have right now working on the number 4018?
More or less Kyle and Jebba, and then I jump in once in a while. But it's tough. Like our program, we probably use 4 or 5 guys. You know, like 5 guys like Kyle, like to really step it up. Like even if you wanted to do any racing over south, like you gotta have a good 5, 6 guys, or you might as well stay at home.
And your son Kyle, to see the evolution that he's had as a crew chief, car chief, main wrench, all the things all the roles that he fills for you. I mean, you must be just blown away how Kyle's evolved in the last 5 seasons.
Yeah, he's just like a big sponge. It seems like he just sucks everything in. Like he learned a lot from Mike McCall. He learned a lot from Junior Ray that used to help carry mix. There's 4 or 5 guys, and he just sucks it all in. And like I just tell him what I want, and he works on the car. And for this is I think his 3rd year just doing wrenching on the car, so he's come a long ways.
Now it's interesting to hear Dwayne sort of instill all that confidence in Kyle, and Kyle sort of fills the role of crew chief and just does it. Whereas you go down the pits to the 47 team, and you're very much hands-on. You're the driver, you're the team manager, you're the coach, you're the crew chief, you're the car chief. Is it tiring taking on all that, all by yourself every single time you're out on the speedway?
Not so much tiring. I enjoy doing it, but I'm also trying to teach the people that are helping me. Like when I do something, I try to explain to them why we're doing this, what I think it'll help. I still don't make changes without confronting them and say, what do you think? I think it's a bit loose, let's lower the track bar. You know, and stuff like that. We come, I look over the car very, very good through the week, scale it before we leave, do all the stuff that we have to do. Try not to have to do too much here. When you have to do too much here, it means you didn't come prepared. So that's always been my philosophy, is do the work at home, try and put in, and I put in a lot of hours, and make sure it's right before you come. That's the key, because I know I'm by myself on this. I've never had anybody that comes to the shop the same time I do every day like some people do, and I just don't have that luxury. I'd love to have it. We just purchased a new home with a shop, and hopefully now the guys will be able to come a little bit more. I'm in a great environment with the Donaldsons. I get all the help I need from them, but they race, I race. I have things I do, they have things they do. We don't tell each other what we're doing too much. So it'll be good to have your own place where people can come and help and feel, you know, comfortable.
Now, with it being a one-man show at your shop, and you by and large do 98% of the work through the week, it's taxing on you, it's tiring on you that you're the only one working on the car, but do you feel it's almost beneficial to your program because you as the driver know exactly what's been done to the race car through the week?
Oh, absolutely. And I'll call Mike and say, listen, I want to try this spring. What will it do if I put this spring in? Like if I'm not sure myself, what will it do? I mean, I've bought in videos and anything you can think of on bump stops, trying to get this figured out before everybody else does. Everybody else is catching up. You can see it, they're catching up. But I've had videos on all of this stuff from Race 101 and all them guys, and talked to them, and had brake issues a couple of weeks ago. Why? Phone performance friction. Who else are you going to phone? You got to phone these people. Phone performance friction. Why am I having these problems? I've ran your equipment since 1990. I've never went through this issue that we're going through with brakes. And the guy says, well, try this. We put it on, and I couldn't believe the difference in the car stopping. So a fella texts me this week, Tom, we're running 05s. I understand you've changed up something. I told him exactly what I did. I tell people what I do. They can believe me or they don't have to believe me. And that's part of racing. Why lie to them? Because it doesn't mean it's going to work on your car like it does on mine.
Every car is different.
Every driver's different. So I told him, I'm curious. He was just sitting outside. I'm curious to see how it worked for him, because I know it worked for me.
Now, it's such an excellent segue, you saying every car is different, every driver is different. Chassis brands have become, it's such an interesting game now, especially in Ontario with you're the face of McCall Racing Enterprises right now in the limited late model realm. You run the house car. Everyone knows that 47 car is the MRE house car. At the same time, you're very much the face for Port City race cars in Ontario. You run their product in your super late model. It's been phenomenal this year with what you've been able to do. Your Port City limited late model just won last night here at Sunset. But is the brand as important as the driver that's behind the wheel of the car? Can a good driver win in any car, regardless of what shop it comes out of?
I'd say yeah. Like everybody's the cars are all basically the same. It's what you bolt on it, motor, everything's basically the same. It's the driver wants a certain feel, and not every driver is the same. And I know, like Tom and a lot of them run heavy springs. We don't in the back. We run soft. So it like every car is different, and it's the driver too. So, but I think like every Port City, McCall, just Junior Hanley, Jeff Hanley, like anybody, they're all awesome builders. They don't do stuff because they want to. It's because they're good at it. So more or less, it's the driver that's got to get the feel he wants and go from there.
Now, what drew you to Port City? Because you were one of the first big names in Ontario that sort of made that leap to Port City Racing Chassis. We've seen a lot more drivers around the province start to run it, but you were one of the first. What drew you to Port City to sort of make that leap of faith?
Don't lie.
Mike McCall wouldn't call me back. So I went to Port City.
So your hand was forced, is what we'll say.
Yeah. And Mike probably wishes now that he did answer me. He probably picked up the phone, but he probably lost 3 or 4 car deals. But if we all had the same car or same equipment, what are we going to all ride around in a bus together? Like that's, you know, a lot of speedways want that. They, you know, nope, you got to have passing. That's where it makes it good. There's built motors, there's crate motors, there's different chassis, there's, you know, that, and that's why it makes such hard racing here every Saturday night.
Yeah, the combination of cars that we have, McCall, Port City, Word, just all of the people. Brian McDonald's starting to help people now. Jeff Waltz helping several people. I mean, and it's really making the competition so much closer. We have 10 to 12 cars here on a Saturday night that can win a feature. 10 to 12 cars. And that's phenomenal, really. I mean, it's just gotten so much better and tougher. I mean, the competition is second to none here. And like Dwayne said, it's the feel of the car. I mean, I've had several different cars. One that Mike Bentley's driving now, I drove it. The 99 car, I drove it. I had it. It was the best car I had ever driven, right out of the shop. But the builders all basically do the same. It's what you bolt on it and what you like for a feel. Like Dwayne says, a lot of us are running heavier springs in the back. I'm in the middle. I can't do the real stiff stuff in the right rear, but I'm in the middle. And we all know what high and low is that are racing, and but it's tough racing here. It really is.
Now, as hands-on as you are with your program, and as well as you understand your car, could we see, you know, years down the road when you're not racing full time, you maybe putting your own spin on certain chassis and maybe cutting them in certain places and changing pickup points, or making maybe a McCall by Tom Walters prototype?
No, I don't think that'll ever happen. First of all, I can't weld, so I ain't cutting anything off and welding it on because of the safety factor of it. But as far as setups and trying different locations for trailing arms and stuff like that, yeah, I'd be interested in doing a lot of that stuff. Working with the young people like Hayden Lapdovich and stuff like that. That's down the road. I mean, I feel pretty good. I'm sore when I get up in the morning. Sure, you know, I'm older, I expect that, but I'm still feel I'm competitive enough to be out there. And when that happens, or I run out of money, then I'll think about retiring.
That's what I laughed about Volume 2 there when Andy was talking about Tommy getting crutches and getting in the car. Still win, probably, but I laughed about that. It was funny.
They'll be carrying you to the car.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, pretty much.
Get race car Jeff Thomas just to pick you up and put you in the seat, strap you in, you'll be good to go.
Well, we're going to design a car where the door opens and you can get in. You just put a lock on the door bars.
Now, when we announced that we were going to have you two together, I think a lot of the fans that don't understand your relationship were surprised. And I think there's a lot of misconceptions about, you know, the 48 team and the 47 team. I'd love to just sort of pull back the curtain on that and shed some light on it, because the rivalry wasn't always there. There was a time, you told me a great story, when you used to take your wife to dates here at Sunset, you were cheering for the 47 car. So there's always been a level of respect there.
Yeah, like it's... it don't matter who you're, like it's me and Tom or me and Andy or Bentley. We're all going to hit each other. We're all going to, you know, like something's going to happen. You're running on the edge all the time. So something's going to happen, and one guy ain't going to like it and the other guy ain't going to like it. And then, you know, what happened between me and Tom a couple of years or 2 years ago or whatever, it was all done and over with at Peterborough, Autumn Color, as soon as we were done. So we talked, and like, I don't have no problem with anybody. It's just racing, and a lot of times it gets too carried away, and the fans usually do a lot of it. It was funny last night, my cousin was in the beer gardens, and he's arguing, fighting with Tom Walters fans. Well, you know, everybody's got their own ideas and everything, but that's good. That's racing. That's why everybody comes here Saturday night.
Yeah.
They don't want to see us run bumper to bumper and not touch each other.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Exactly.
you got to move somebody. The fans love that. That's why they come. If you get out fighting in the middle, they love that. That's part of racing.
I take the same. I agree with Dwayne. I mean, you're out there. A lot of people don't realize you're making decisions in split seconds. Some of them are right, some of them are wrong. But you gotta go with your instinct. And if you make a mistake, somebody sometimes gets wrecked, and somebody, sometimes it doesn't. You just get spun out. But it happens so fast. And like Dwayne said, the rivalry and stuff like that, a lot of the media blows it out of proportion. You being one, Spence.
That's his job too.
Yeah,
He's got to get the
exactly.
fans
Yeah.
ramped up. Like that's why the place is packed every Saturday night. What other track in Ontario's got the drivers, the people in the stands?
Yeah.
They got everything right now. We just gotta keep on getting it there.
I think there's just as much excitement going on that we don't even see in the stands amongst the fans getting at it. And there's a speedway down south where the drivers aren't fighting, the fans are.
Bowman Gray Stadium.
Bowman Gray Stadium,
YouTube sensation.
I mean, we don't need, I've seen some videos, we don't need that type of racing going on, but the animosity amongst the fans and everything, and they come to boo, they still pay their money, and I've always had a theory. You pay your money, you have your opinion, that's why you come.
Yep.
And if you don't like me, that's great, I know you're still watching me.
Yeah.
Whether you like me or you don't, and I think I've changed over the years, my driving style and stuff like that. And but back in the day, and I can say back in the day because I was there, driving was a lot different. There was a lot more contact than there is now. It's just now the cars are so technically advanced, and you can't just go to a wrecking yard and fix them. You can't have as many wrecks nowadays as you could back then, and keep the costs down because it's very expensive.
Now, the Father's Day 75, we'll touch on that because I have to ask. It was chalked up on both sides as just a racing deal. What exactly happened on the front straightaway? Because we had video of the footage. We had footage of the event up on YouTube, and I think it did 1,200 views in its first week. I mean, it was all anybody could talk about. What exactly happened?
I did get loose coming up, which you're gonna go to the wall, and we're on a restart.
Mm-hmm.
And I talked to Tommy after. I said, Tommy, I wanted to win. He goes, I wanted to win too. And I said, as far as I think is, we got hooked together, and I think we got hooked bumpers, and I don't know, it's just hard-nosed racing.
I watched the video because we had a camera going up, and like I said, things happen in a split second, and I think Dwayne just moved up a little bit to get in behind, and I hadn't cleared him, and you could see the hole right at the back part of my bumper where we had just hooked bumpers, and that's what turned us more than anything, is that the two bumpers actually hooked each other.
Yeah.
If it had just been bodies touching and not actually two pieces of metal hooking, that you wouldn't have had any of that. Like, would have got spun out maybe, but I don't think he would have had it. But the fact that they got hooked together, and I'm on the gas and he's on the gas, and then all of a sudden it whips around on you. Like I say, things happen so fast, and that was one of them.
I think what I was impressed and surprised about was speaking to you immediately following the incident. You were upset about your car. You were obviously upset about the massive expense that was going to come out of it, but you didn't have one bad thing to say about Dwayne. How fast was that incident sort of settled and taken care of between you two?
Oh, it was
That night.
that night. Oh yeah, right away. I mean, we don't have a problem coming and talking to each other. Where some of the guys will talk to you on social media about you, what they're going to do, this and that, and social media is killing racing. It really is. I don't go on it. I know Dwayne don't go on it. Our wives have our names on it, and people think that it's maybe us or we don't post. I don't anyway. Nothing. But it's some guys will go and do the social media thing, and post things and a bunch of crap. And if you got a problem, come down and talk to me. And that's the best way in this day and age to get it sorted out. Just the two drivers, talk, made a mistake, sorry, or stuff like that. Not carry it on the speedway like what happened last night. We had an incident last night where that should never happen. We lost a good car probably for the rest of the year, and I have no idea why these two guys wrecked each other. It's not like it's an ongoing thing. I would have thought it would have happened the other way, that Scott might have got wrecked and not Whitty, because it was Scott that spun Whitty out for the lead. And I don't understand, the stuff's so expensive, and why they're wrecking each other like in a heat race. Doesn't pay nothing.
No, we don't pay out on lap 10 of a heat race, that's for certain.
You know, and it's just, where...
I think that's what happened with me and Tom there a few, or 2 or 3 years ago. When everything went down, we didn't talk. I was in no mood to talk. And Tom did come over a couple times, and he come around, and I didn't want no part of it. And we probably would have saved ourselves a whole lot of money if we would have talked.
Yeah, and I try. If I know I can't go to the driver and he doesn't want to talk, I will approach management and say, listen, we need to have a meeting with the management, myself, and the other person, and say, like, let's get this sorted out before it snowballs into something that you guys don't want to deal with. And that's the best way to handle it. And, you know, look at Peterborough last night. I mean, there was fighting going on there between teams.
They were fighting in Tech Lane.
In Tech Lane and everything. I mean, it's the same, but somehow or another you got to get a bit of a handle on it. And I'm sure nothing big out of it came out of it, but somebody's going to get hurt. And you can see it coming, like it's revolving around that someone's going to get hurt. And I don't know what happened. I heard Kelly was involved, and then I heard Mike Rusher was involved, and Chris Mitchell, and Horners, and well, that's the whole speedway, is it not?
It's at least 1/3 of it. It's a big chunk of the speedway.
I mean, I've seen cars on top of cars and pictures, and it's like, wow, how can, you know, we got to stop this. We're never going to eliminate it,
No.
but I'm sure if there's a way that we can put a little less wrecking out there, I'm sure there is.
What would you, with Tom talking about the open lines of communication between the two teams, would you say that's the biggest misconception that the fans probably have about you two as competitors and as drivers?
Well, they know what we're about, or history or whatever, and I don't know. But I guess they'll know now. But
They know now. That's what.
Yeah.
That's what. It's great to sort of.
Yeah.
Because if you're behind the scenes, if you're in the pit, you see it, and you see there's not a lot of animosity there.
Yeah.
But in the stands, like you were saying, it's almost like when you see footage of European soccer games across, and how passionate the fans are. That's very much what we have here at Sunset. I mean, it's present at other tracks as well, but especially at Sunset.
Absolutely.
When you've got your driver and you're passionate about that driver and you're his supporter, you're going to voice your opinion.
Whether you done it, whether you're right or you're wrong, you're right. As far as that spectator's concerned,
Exactly.
You're right. Yeah, I've had people come down and say to me, "Oh, they just hit." Well, no, that was me. No, it wasn't. It was him. And even if you tell them it was you, they'll argue with you as a fan. They'll argue with you as your fan. Say, "No, Tom, it wasn't you. It was him. Honest."
you'd have 10 different views by the end of the night from everybody. So the only one that knows is probably it's in the car.
That's so true. I mean, you know what one, and you know, you know when somebody does you dirty or it's an accident. You know that. You're 99% sure at the time when that goes down how it went down, and it's funny to listen to some of them come and tell you afterwards. Oh, this is it. Yeah, okay. You just you sort of agree to disagree, but you just say yeah, okay.
Now we'll change gears a little bit here. When we spoke off camera, the first thing you wanted to talk about was how to make Sunset Speedway and weekly racing a better place. Now, with the landscape the way it is right now, what do we have right now to get excited about? What's the one thing in weekly racing that we should be really excited about right now?
Here at Sunset, don't miss.
It could be Sunset, could be anywhere in the province.
I think our class has got to be the best.
Yeah.
I think all around rules is the best. The 602's good. The belt's good. Look at how many different winners we had this year. Like, that just shows you there. And I think our car is probably the best in Ontario.
Yeah, I agree 100%. And the competition of drivers is a lot better in the limited late model. You know, especially here at Sunset. I mean, I know guys can get in better equipment and be better drivers.
Yeah.
And it's just a financial thing, of course, and it always will be. You're always going to have your first pack, your second pack, and your third pack cars. We need that third pack cars. I respect them as much as I do the first pack cars, because we need them to keep the show going.
Yeah.
When you have 22 cars here every night, whether it's an Ernie, whether it's a Rankin, or I appreciate them guys being here as much as Dwayne Baker, Andy Camrath, Mike Bentley. We need them guys, and we need to treat them all the same way.
Yeah.
And I've always said that. You need them people to keep us racing, and everything else. I appreciate them, everything they do. Even Gary Elliott. Love you to death, Gary. You know, we need everybody here.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
I don't think we've had a night under 20 cars here at Sunset
No,
this year,
no,
so
no.
that just shows you right there, like, the cars and everything's.
We have a perfect package right now. We do not need to be fooling with it. I honestly think that the promoters, with the package that we have, can approach these tire companies, like OSCAAR does, and say, listen, you know, we have this package, we sell this many tires. You need to cut, you know, bring the price down a little bit on the tires to make it more affordable for more people to move up.
Mm-hmm.
They brought the crate in, which was the greatest thing that happened in my budget, for my budget, and you know, to go race and put a $5,000 motor from the fan to the transmission for $5,000, how can you go wrong? And that's just, you know, that's just sort of my opinion, but we have a super class. The limited late models are great. I know other speedways have had to incorporate, because other tracks have closed down, had to incorporate a limited late model. I know they touched on this on volume 2. We're trying to get the rules. Well, when we ran the pro late models here last year,
Yep.
Mark Dilley put a package together, and I think it was second to none. I mean, it worked for us, but what people don't realize is we've got 1,000 to 1,000,000 laps on here. We're going to be fast compared to the out-of-town cars. When the out-of-town cars come, it just shows you. A perfect example is Gordy Shepherd. We ran the last 75 lapper here. Dwayne finished behind me, run me clean and everything. We lapped Gordy Shepherd. He is your points leader at Barrie Speedway.
And I think he's up into double-digit victories now. I think he's got over 10.
Yeah.
Barrie, and the season's not even over
he
yet.
struggled when he come here. Alan Ingalls, top runner, struggled when he come here. This track requires you to be on it on a weekly basis. And like, getting back to the package deal, I thought Mark had the perfect package deal for that. Everybody was competitive.
Well, it just showed, I didn't run here at all last year, so it shows how, like, I tried to use my Barrie setup for here. Well, it took me and Kyle too long to change it until we brought this black car out and we said, change the whole thing. So it's, you miss a year, it took me that much just to get back up.
That much time, yeah.
And what is it about Sunset? Is it just the actual footprint of the track, the way it's laid out?
I think
makes
it's
it
the
so hard?
bacon and the speed coming in is most of it. Where Barrie's more smoother and not as much banking.
Now you've done a lot of touring, whether it's in a limited late model, a pro late model, your super late model. Would you mark Sunset as the most difficult track to sort of wrap your head around and formulate a proper racing line?
I'd say yeah. I think once you got it figured out here, I think you're good to go anywhere else.
Yeah.
I'd say. And it used to be Barry. If you could run Barry, you could go anywhere and win.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
was,
I mean, I went to Sauble. Dwayne was here, stayed here with this super modified, but I went to Sauble for the home and home. I never changed the car one bit. We put a couple of tires on, and we were just going because you were getting 100 points regardless of where you finished. But I thought I had a little bit to prove because the last time I was there it was kind of really slow. And I thought, I got something to prove here. And, we had a good chance of winning that. We finished second, and it proved to me, like, okay, that it's just like anything. That's their home track. This is our home track. They come here, they didn't run that well.
Yeah.
We go there. I was the only one that and Chris Morrow, I guess, was up there. But, it's where you run on a regular basis, you get tuned into, and you need to be better than the guys that come in from out of town, or your program ain't up to speed.
Oh, I mean, I saw people walking into Scott McTeer's backyard. I mean, McTeer and Parker are
Yes.
the show at Sauble Speedway. I mean, they are phenomenal at the beach. They know how to get around, and Sauble's a tricky track as well. Now, mentioning the home and home, is that something that you would love to see Sunset do again? Do you think that's something maybe other speedways should take a look at doing? I mean, there's no reason that Delaware and Flamborough, with the proximity of those two tracks, with the right amount of thinking and the right amount of planning, could not pull off a home and home exactly the way Sunset and Sauble did. Is that something we could look at heading
I
into next
think our
year?
rules are probably close enough where we could probably go to every track and do a home and home. I
Yeah.
don't know. Like if Barry, say Sunset did 10 races, well, there's no reason why we couldn't go to every track, do like a little home series
Yeah.
to every track. So,
But they would have to be not a series like, per se, as the OSCAAR or the All-Star.
Yeah.
Because
just like a home, like what we did
a
with
home to
Sauble,
home.
yeah.
Because what happens there is that even though somebody's running it, the promoters of each speedway are in charge.
That's it. Yeah.
Because the minute they say we don't want you, that series is done.
Yeah.
That's exactly what happened with All-Star.
Yeah.
We went from being a Sunday afternoon show, which was fantastic. You could run your Saturday night program, go and run Sunday at Cayuga or Peterborough Speedway or something like that on the Sunday, was great. Then they decided they're going to do it on Saturday nights because we want some of the home track guys that don't travel in the All-Star to be able to run in the All-Star. Well, that didn't work because it took away from the regular Saturday night shows. And eventually, they changed the rules and started allowing more and more stuff, and it just fell by the wayside. Car counts went down, and promoters were saying, like, I believe it was Glenn Lloyd at the time.
It was.
It was saying, I can run my own special, pay less money, and have the same amount of cars here.
Yeah.
Why do I need to be paying whatever the number was, $20,000 out to All-Star when I only have to pay $15,000 and still have the same show?
Yeah.
So you got to be careful with these series, and but if you like do the home and home stuff, then it's not too bad. And if you're in the points, you'll go.
Yeah.
Guys like Scott Mateer, I can't believe, didn't come to Sunset. Oh, he did. I'm sorry.
He didn't run well.
He didn't
was
run
here,
well.
but he did not run well.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
That's what it was.
Yeah, oh, it was the post that he put on afterwards.
That's
yeah.
exactly it.
Yeah. Now I know why I hate Sunset.
And it's frustrating. I can see how somebody could
Oh,
get.
same as Jason Parker.
Yeah.
Like he's so frustrated coming here too, and then you go watch him I watched him at Sauble Wednesday night.
He's brilliant. He's the
He was
fastest car on the
quick,
track.
Yeah, he was fast.
But if you come and dedicate it to running here, week in and week out, it would take him, say, 2, 3, 4 weeks, and he'd be up to speed with the rest of us.
Yeah.
He would. He's a good driver. I mean, there's no doubt about it. Jason can wheel a car, but he just needs to put more time into it and work on it a little bit better. And like I say, if he was here for 4 weeks, he'd be up to speed. Absolutely.
Now, in the limited late model division, and I know you don't really like touching on anybody else's business or their program, but I know you know your competition. I know that you know the drivers you racing against very well. Is there one driver on the limited late model roster right now that isn't winning features that you could see sort of becoming a contending car in the next 3-4 seasons?
Well, was it 2 weeks ago? Caden jumped in Simone's car.
Yes, Caden lost
And
it.
he passed me, and I went over. I said, "Wow, like, you should stay in that car." He was so smooth, picked up the throttle, and I just went over and I said, "Good job, buddy. Like, you're wheeling it. You're doing good."
Yeah.
Caden's gonna be a good little driver.
Now I'm gonna switch the question up a little bit, because I know every time we've spoken about semi-retirement, you've mentioned how you're looking forward to acting as a driver coach and a mentor to some of the younger drivers. Now I know you're still looking pretty spry, and the retirement's not happening yet. But say we took you out of the car this year and you had to start working with younger drivers. We got a paddock full of teenagers, whether it's limited late model kids, super stock, mini stock. Is there one youngster that sort of stands out for you that you would like to sort of pull aside and groom them and act as a mentor to try to get them to the top levels of the sport?
Yeah, it'd have to be Caden again. He listens. I've done a bunch of coaching with him this year. I mean, the kid's had terrible luck, but I mean, I've done a bunch of coaching with him. He listens. He understands already at 13 years old what the car's doing, and you'll make a change to suit him, and he'll come back and he'll say, "Much better," or "We went the wrong way." And at 13 years old, to have that type of feel already is incredible. And I mean, there's Paul Giannoli, the Zardo boys. Good wheelers.
Yeah.
They got good equipment. I mean, but they've already got somebody. They're already under somebody's wing and stuff like that. You got Randy Russell, who's just knocking the shit out of everybody.
Oh, he's just killing it.
I mean, I'm sure there's going to be a bounty or something on him, like we used to do before. But you just hit on something, and it works for you, and that's what Randy has. But young Caden is somebody. He comes from a racing family, so that works in his favor. They understand the ups and downs and stuff like that. And Paul Giannoli, the Zardos, I'm sorry I don't remember the kid in the 64. I remember
Brandon McFerrin, the astronaut Brandon McFerrin.
Yeah, Brandon McFerrin. I remember car numbers more than names.
Yep, that's what I'm here for.
Brandon, I mean, I watch him, and a great little shoe. And there's a lot, but it's the same old story. They have to have the funding to continue on with this.
It's a money game.
It definitely is a money game.
My son Kyle's been over wrenching on Thane Halburn's car every week, once or twice a week, and helping them out a lot. And it'd be nice to get Thane. They're a really good racing family, like Thane and Travis. Like, they got good equipment, and Thane's really done good this year. So.
Now, this interview is running a little long, and I got so many more questions that I want to ask these two. So I've already decided, as long as these guys are all right with it, Autumn Colors Classic, we're going to be right back here for the second, and we're going to do this again because this is fantastic. I know both of these guys are going to be Autumn Colors. We're going to sit down on the Wednesday or the Thursday and have another edition of this because this has been fantastic. Volume 3, a huge success. Volume 4, we're shooting on Thursday, and I'm not going to tell you who the roster is yet. Follow me on Twitter @ItSpencerLewis or hit me on Facebook, because on Tuesday I'll be uploading exactly who's going to be doing a shoot with us for volume number 4. The bully Dwayne Baker, Stompin, Tom Walters, thank you guys so much for sitting down with me. I mean, this is going to be, there's going to be a lot of views. I think it's going to be a real successful video. The viewers, thank you so much. If you got an idea for who you'd like to see on bench racing, hit me on Twitter, follow me on Facebook. Let me know who you want to see. Let me know the questions you want to ask. Anything you guys would like to add before we cut this one out?
No, I gotta leave. I promised Dwayne I'd lend him a carburetor for Flamborough. I gotta go home and get it.
Gold Rush 100. You got enough salt to get right to the front?
I think so.
I think we should be all right if we stay out of trouble. And Kyle just decided yesterday he wanted to go. So he's at home changing the car all over. So it's I wanted to relax this weekend, but doesn't look like it's going to work out that way.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for watching. For Brendan Doherty, the steady hand behind the camera, Dwayne Baker, Stompin, Tom Walters, I am your host, Spencer Lewis. Thank you for the support. We will see you in volume number 4. Volume 3 is a wrap.